Hey guys, Caesar Quick here, your marriage coach with having healthy marriages and relationships. And today's topic, I want to talk to y'all about courting versus dating. Courting versus dating. This is especially for you if you're in the dating phase, if you're in a committed relationship, if you're engaged, excuse me, if you're engaged. You want to understand what courting is versus conventional dating. And I'm going to start out talking about conventional dating. So, most of us have been raised in a world, in our society that pushes that you need to go on many dates with many people to find your match, to find your partner, to find your spouse. Now, while there's certainly some truth there, while I'm sure that that has been, the case for several people, is it is it the best case scenario? Is it the best way to find a mate? Well, I'm going to give you, of course, my opinions, and I'm going to tell you why courting is a better way, especially for believers in Christ. So we'll talk about what dating is, we'll talk about what courting is, and then we'll discuss, why courting why courting is better. All right, so dating says you have to date many people, or this is the catalyst or the stereotype around dating. Dating, conventional dating, says go out, have many dates with many people. Now, there's certainly nothing wrong with going out with different people, finding out who they are. But we have to understand that, first of all, we have to understand that dating actually, for dating to find a spouse, is completely different than you going on, say, perhaps a play date, or you just going out with a friend. So let's just kind of differentiate. Let's separate that, because I know people have different ideas of what dating is, or what dating is to them. So for the purposes of this video, when I say dating, I'm talking about dating with an intention to find a spouse, to find a serious partner, to find somebody with potential. Okay, because as far as I'm concerned, if you're not dating to marry, especially as a believer, you're wasting time. So let's talk about a little bit about what dating is in our society, what our society has fostered. So when you go out on a date, ladies, gentlemen, you really have to look at your motive, and you have to, different people are looking for different things. But again, I'm coming from the perspective of looking for a life mate, because we're talking, from a Christian belief. We're talking from, our Christian morals. So we're talking about finding a spouse. But anyhow, when you're dating someone, ladies and gentlemen, first off, looking for a spouse, you have to be clear that, you're looking for a spouse. And I don't mean, jump off into your conversation and that's the first thing that you say. But I mean, you want to be looking to see, what they're looking for. And first off, you want them to be marriage minded. So the most important thing for you to be is marriage minded first. Because if you're dating, and you're dating with just, oh, I'm just going to go out, I'm just going to shoot the breeze, or I'm just going to go and see where it leads to. Again, nothing wrong with that. But what happens, guys, when you catch feelings, when you and another person, you guys may be getting off to a really great start, and then, you're feeling each other. The natural thing is to move to the next phase. Romance is involved, some infatuations involved there. So it's important that as you move ahead with those emotions, the expectations need to be spelled out, because you're going to have people that are going to date you, and their idea of dating is going to be, hey, let me sleep with you, or they just have a whole different set of they have in store for you what they have in store for you. So dating as a believer, guys, you should be looking to court somebody. So let's talk about courting for a minute. Courting is I'm dating somebody. Well, courting, first off, is there's a plan or there's a goal of marriage. So honestly, let me back up, before you even get to courting, you need to have a really, really great friendship established with that person. So for the believer, it should look like this. It should look like, hey, let's establish a friendship. Let's get to know each other. Let's get to see what we have in common. Let's get to see if, our morals are right. Are we equally yoked? Those are some things you're looking for. And, do you love the person? Can you fall in love with the person without, before we talk about infatuation, before we talk about romance, is there something solid there? So once you've moved past the friendship, guys, you should automatically be moving into a courtship phase. Now, I'm not telling you that you should rush this phase. I'm not saying, hey, you need to be at this point. There's some general parameters there that I would recommend, or some general guidelines that I recommend, but I'm going to say for the most part that courting is serious, guys. Courting is saying, hey, I have a plan to marry. I'm not going to waste your time by jumping from date to date and from jumping from person to person. So at this point, at this stage of the game, you should already know that, hey, I'm courting you. It's serious, and the plan is to marry. The problem with conventional dating, guys, is I call it almost a bachelorette type of perspective, because that's what I'm reminded of with conventional dating. When I think of conventional dating, I think of The Bachelor. Like, there's a bunch of girls running and vying for and competing for a guy's attention, and the same for The Bachelorette. There's a bunch of guys vying for a girl's attention. Problem with that, ladies and gentlemen, is that when you start to get feelings for this person, he or she, and they have feelings for other people because they're dating multiple people at the same time, that gets messy, right? And somebody usually is going to get hurt. If they don't get hurt really badly, they're going to get hurt to some degree, and it puts them in a competing type of mode. And I think that the friendship needs to have, one-on-one attention. You need to give somebody one-on-one attention, first of all, to even find out if they could be your potential spouse. So that whole conventional dating thing, to me, is why so many people are not finding genuine people. It's how we're dating today. We're dating people. We're dating a whole bunch of people, and we're giving 10%, 10%, 10%, instead of giving that one person 100% to find out if they could be a potential spouse. So that's one of the flaws that I have with dating. Dating doesn't have any real goal, guys, except to get you to the next date. Okay, so the purpose of the next date should be to see if, okay, do we have the potential to take it further? Now, here's where we get into time frames. Generally, what I say, guys, is it 6 months to a year if you have two equally yoked believers, well, it doesn't even have to be believers, but let's just say two equally yoked people, two compatible people. Okay, if you guys are compatible, you're compatible. Why does it take 2, 3, 4, 5 years to make that decision to marry? It doesn't take that long, ladies. It doesn't take that long, gentlemen. It really doesn't. When you know what you want, when you have your solid core beliefs. So I have my solid core belief is, my belief is, for my wife, I'm not wasting time. I didn't waste time with my wife. I said, hey, I knew what I was looking for. We had a really, really great friendship. We courted, and then we married. Now, is that going to be everybody's situation going to be black and white like that? No. But I am saying that you should get your mindset as a believer to a place where, hey, look, I'm already marriage minded. That is half the battle right there. It's being marriage minded. There's a lot of people out here, they're not marriage minded, guys. And if they're not marriage minded, they're already wasting your time off the top. So you got to find that out, in advance. You got to find that out in the beginning. in the primary dating stages. So back to dating, guys. Let's just I'm just gonna review some of the differences. Dating doesn't have any end goal. Dating basically just says, I'm out there, I don't have a plan, I'm just gonna wing it and see how it goes. Nothing wrong with seeing how it goes. The problem is that if you don't have a criteria there, if you don't have it in your head for that man or that woman, hey, this is what I'm looking for, and they don't have it in their head what it is they're looking for, you know, that's how you jump into what we call situationships. And you know, physical attraction, guys, all that stuff is great, but it's not enough for the long term. You know, you then just have a physical relationship, or you have that's where all those sexual relationships comes from. But guess what, at the end of the day, they fall apart because there's no substance there. You need more than that, guys. You need a common you need a common ground. You need to find out what that person's goals are, what's their vision are. Ladies, can you follow him? Are you ready to follow him with his vision, with his plans? Guys, is she gonna be loyal? Is she gonna be faithful? Is she really into you? Is she gonna support the vision? Things like that. And what's happening in this dispensable dating world is that we have a lot of people that's making connections, but we don't have that many people making marriages. And the reason being is because we're basing everything off how a person looks, what they make, you know. And gosh, at the end of the day, that's not enough. So dating versus courting. Courting, guys, says that I'm already marriage minded. I'm looking for someone that's marriage minded. I'm looking for somebody who I'm equally yoked with. Our morals equally yoked, and our morals and our faiths and our beliefs. This is so important, guys, because how can you guys be on the same path if you're going in two different directions? That's why being equally yoked is the most important thing first. And then, guys, you know, you need to be asking other questions that are geared towards a life mate, what you want in a life mate. If you're not asking these questions, guys, you're wasting time, and you're not finding out if that person is really the one for you. You're not finding out if they're matching up with you in the most important areas. Okay, so yeah, it's possible to learn this in dating, but you know, the mindset, more or less, guys, has to be serious. It has to be a marriage mindset. So when you're dating, single ladies, you know, don't be afraid to ask guys what we call the tough questions. The tough questions are, you know, where do you see yourself? What's your vision? What type of, you know, you want to ask the questions about what, you know, where are they headed? What do they do? But ladies, ask questions that you want answered. Talk to them as if they're already your husband. Like, you know, talk to them like, hey, what do you see? How do you see yourself as a husband? And what are your ambitions? What's your drive? How would you handle this? How would you handle that? How are you with your finances? Blah, blah, blah. You got to ask this stuff up front, because we jump into these relationships and situationships, and then we find out that it's not what it seems, right? Because a lot of that was we didn't ask the right questions. Some of it might have been a couple little white lies there. I can get that. A lot of people don't really, they say one thing, and then, you know, when you're married, it sometimes it turns out to be something different. But you got to ask the right qualifying questions, especially in the getting to know stages. But that just goes back to being marriage minded with the whole courting thing. So ladies, with the courting versus the dating, the courting, you're marriage minded, he's marriage minded. Because if you're already both not on that same page, it's a waste of time, and whatever he's looking for is going to bring mediocre or casual results. And then when all he wants is sex, or all he wants is this, that, and the other, you're going to be pissed off, you're going to be mad, and then, you know, it ends there. It's another heartbreak, it's another disappointment. So that's why it's important that we as believers, that we start courting people, not so much dating them. And the courting, it doesn't take a long time, guys, and I'm not putting a timetable on when you should get married. But what I am saying, ladies, is that someone shacking up with you, someone cohabitating with you for years on end, you know, that right there is unacceptable because you're a queen. And guys, it's unacceptable on your end because you know who wifey is, you know who you want a wife, and you know if that woman has wife qualities. And if you're courting her, you've already established that. But if you're jumping from date to date, you know, then are you dating, with the intention to marry her, or are you just dating looking for the next date? So this is Caesar Quick, your marriage coach. I'm going to pick this up with a part two because this is a rather deep topic. But what I want to encourage you guys to do, men and women, is when you date somebody, are you dating them with the mindset of marriage? And I'm not saying that they're going to be the one. I'm saying that you still can have your mindset, your mind made up that you want marriage. But I'm not saying that they're going to be the one, but I'm saying that you need to look at them like that so that, you don't get a casual relationship. Because honestly, what's going to happen, guys, ladies and gentlemen, is if they're not serious, then they'll fall by the wayside. Good. That's what we want. Weed them out. We want the serious people, the serious men and women who are looking for marriage, God's way, to come into our life. The people that are going to stay with us for a lifetime or have the potential to stay with us for a lifetime. So this is Caesar Quick, your marriage coach with having healthy marriages and relationships. And I'll be back for part two, courting versus dating. Thanks.